What's good? What's good? What's good? What is good? This is Raw Truth Media giving you the raw content that you deservedly need. You know what's funny? Someone said that I would not be happy because Jackson State lost. Again, I hate it for the coaches. I hate it for the players. But I got to give respect to FAMU. FAMU did a great job. And at the end of the day, this is sports. So this is fun. Everything is fun when you talk about sports and uh, competitive games. But I'm going to break down what really happened in this game. Number one, the energy was low. I repeat, the energy was low for Jackson State. FAMU's energy was very high. They wanted that game more. From start to finish, the the energy of FAMU was consistent. And we've told you all summer, me and many content creators, this is the best FAMU team since '99. Apparently, a lot of people didn't listen, but now you see FAMU was that good. Now, what I don't want to see, I don't want to see Shines belittling HBCUs, belittling these great coaches out here because of a game. Because if you watch the FAMU Jackson State game, you will understand turnovers, lack of attention to detail, and no grit for 4 quarters is why Jackson State lost. Special teams was horrendous. I haven't seen so many block kicks, failed kickoff, and punt return coverage. I haven't seen that many errors like that in a while. I don't know if the players of Jackson State were distracted because they was in Miami, but it doesn't make sense. Shout out to Rico Sullivan. He said, I thought y'all said the team was better than Prime-led team. Stop throwing shots at Prime and stay humble. Rico Sullivan, the coaching staff is, but here you're Prime at, my brother, and that's cool. No hard feelings on Deion Sanders. But, keeping it real about what a team looks like, this team would not beat South Carolina State last week if they played this bad the way they did. And they're going to look at the film and they're going to see how bad they look. Again, with this FAMU team is the best since '99. And Rico, brother Rico, you're right to have your opinion, but you failed to even give FAMU their credit. This is their best team in 20 years. I repeat, this is their best team in 20 years. And instead of giving FAMU their credit for winning this game and dominating, you went out here to call out and diss TC Taylor and the coaching staff and the players. See, this is the buffoonery that has happened within this HBCU community. Outsiders coming in that don't care about HBCUs, dissing coaches, dissing players after a game. And Rico, you're welcome to have an opinion again. But what does the previous coaching staff having to do with players not being aligned and assigned and special teams missing on certain? This is beyond coaching. Like Kay Loftus said, FAMU came to play. There's no excuses. FAMU came to play. We got 80 people in here. We need 80 likes. They had 3 running backs, Gene, Yant, and many others, breaking tackles, playing a physical brand of football. Didn't I tell you FAMU was going to run the ball more? I was right. And I could tell that Willie Simmons looked at all the film, not just Willie Simmons. I guarantee you, Willie Simmons looked at past coaching games because he knew that TC and Maurice Harrison, the defensive coordinator, did not open up the playbook. So they were looking at games when TC was at North Carolina Central as an OC. They were looking at games at Maurice Harris when he was at Liberty and then Ole Miss as a quality control coach. They were looking at games, Obenyama when he was with NIU. This is what they're not going to talk about because this is what Sean do. They like Rico, brother Rico. You mean to tell me instead of just calling out what it is, instead of saying FAMU outplayed Jackson State, FAMU was ready to play, FAMU wanted more, you came out here and said, oh, what about this? They look better without Prime. Again, the only thing that Jackson State fans said about TC is TC is an actual coach. That's true. Coach Prime is a great recruiter, motivational, and he has great staffs on him. But what did we say that was wrong? And again, why are you bringing up the old coach? We were talking about this year's team. So everyone that's listening, I want y'all to stay focused and stay on subject, because we're not talking about 2 years ago. This FAMU team is not like the past two FAMU teams in the past. We've been saying that this whole summer, but I guess a lot of people are not listening. Jason Brown being hurt, and he was grabbing his wrist the whole game. They should have made the quarterback switch then. He was not ready to play. He was missing. I watched the game, and I'm going to rewatch the game again. They were missing a ton of open receivers. Tell me if I'm lying, family. Shout out to It's Your Boy, Big Spell One. He said it's going to take some time for them to be where they want to be. JSU will be better as the season goes on. I believe so, too. Jackson State left a lot. If you take away the special team blunders and the plays that were left off, this game shouldn't have been a blowout. But then again, FAMU left a lot of plays too because Musa was off a few targets. Shout out to Jordan Haddon. And one thing I respect about Jordan Haddon, no matter a FAMU loss and a FAMU win, he's consistent. He's always on the show. So shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to all the FAMU fans. Y'all deserve it. This would be a celebration of y'all. We're not going to talk about last year and stuff because that's not fair to FAMU. And I'm not going to allow that on my channel. You could go to, some people could go to them buffoon channels where they're shucking and jiving off of a team's loss, but we're not going to do it here. We're going to give FAMU their full respect because it's about them. They won. And I said it then. If FAMU wins this game, I don't see them losing any other game. I'm going to stand on that. Yeah, Anthony Dunn was a beast, man. That Anthony Dunn, Jordan Haddon, man. That Anthony Dunn is a monster. That was a monster pickup for FAMU. Lawrence RBE, shout out to you, my brother. He said, I had JSU losing 2 games this season. FAMU was one of them. FAMU had to win. I respect your honesty, my brother. She hates these. She says, the 3-4 defense against that par run game concept out of the spread concept is not it. Well, they had to switch it up because the coverage was not doing their thing. I don't know. The DBs were off in this game. And Jackson State usually has talented DBs. And I still think their team is talented. But something was off. Yeah, trap music. The Irv Mulligan fumble was one of the worst calls I've seen in years. And I had a homeboy who's a FAMU fan hit me up, and he even agreed on Twitter on the DMs. He even said it. So you know it's bad that an opposing, like, he was like, yeah, he didn't fumble, but we'll take it. That's what he said. JSU Tigers 06 says, I'm disappointed it took coaches so long to adjust. Yeah, that's the worst part. That's the only thing coaches did wrong. They should have switched the quarterbacks. Brown, Jason Brown could barely throw. But TC Taylor, we're going to figure it out. What I'm not going to do is act like TC's not a good coach. He is a good coach. Just because you lose against a talented team that is their most talented in 20 years, that's not a fault. But special teams need to clean that up. And Jackson State, when Jackson State doesn't turn over the ball, doesn't do blunders, they're really tough to beat. But you can't beat good teams like FAMU when you're making mistakes. Shout out to the brother Urban Opinionated Podcast. He said the loss. Hey, y'all won, man. Hey, I always say when you win, you can talk as much junk as you want. Yeah, the DBs were extremely off, Mr. Goodwin. We got almost 150 people in the chat. Hit the like button, share this video on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. And if you still got Facebook, if you still got MySpace, do it, but I doubt anybody got that. Yeah, man, hit the like button. Mr. Goodman says the play calling was suspect trick plays with a hurt quarterback. That didn't make sense. It's your boy OZ says, not talented enough to dominate the Swac anymore. I think the talent in the Swac is increased with recruiting and more coaching, and that was to be expected. Southbound 3000 says, Jess, you seem tired from the jump. I hope the guys aren't hitting the portal seasons in. TC will have a. I'm not going to overreact, man. One thing after a loss, again, losing to FAMU, a team that you've been beating for years, if you're a Jackson State fan, it doesn't look good. But when you see the mistakes that Jackson State made, they're really preventable. You can fix special teams. You can fix certain pursuit angles. You could fix being aligned and assigned. They shut out Jeremy Musa in that second half. That's what Jackson State should have been doing. But credit to FAMU. They adjusted the receivers, Riley and company, Shahir's from H-Town. Shout out to him. Fast receivers. And Riley came from Bethune-Cookman. He was a baller at Bethune-Cookman, but only people who watch SWAC football knows how good some of these players are. Shout out to Miak Mike. And Miak Mike, congratulations to your Morgan State Bears on beating the number 17th, I repeat, 17th team in the country in Richmond. Here's how dominant Morgan State is on defense. The starting quarterback for Morgan State had a total of 68 yards. And you still win a game when your quarterback only throws for 68 yards? That's impressive. Your John Huggins came back, but he just came back. He's got to get, when John Huggins get his legs under him, look out. I'm saying it before everybody jump in the bandwagon. Y'all know how some people are. Shout out to Coach Simmons. He said 1 loss in 2 years. Jess, you can still run the table and sweat. Nobody really made that jump. FAMU, that's going to be tough to beat them. If you're a FAMU fan, I want you to hear this. The only team that can stop you guys is yourselves now. So if FAMU does not make mistakes, they're going to win. They're more talented than the rest of the schedule outside of the non-conference. Don't beat yourselves. And if I'm Jackson State, don't even depend on FAMU. Don't do it. Don't depend on FAMU to lose. What if they lose? Going forward, you need to worry about winning out. And not only winning out, you need to look good the rest of these games. Zy McDonald, he may be an undersized quarterback, barely at 6 foot, 5'11", 6 foot. He's explosive in the run. He has a deep ball. People were telling me he's cold. And you know what's in a good way crazy? Jacoby and Morgan has the most potential out of all the quarterbacks. He didn't even play, but he has the most potential. This could be one of the seasons for Jackson State where the injury happened, of course, to Jason Brown hand injury, and they should have made the change earlier. But we could look back and say, wow, this game changed everything. So pretty much the FAMU game can help out Jackson State. Now you're going to say it's odd, but Zy McDonald, man, he looked like a SWAC version of Kyler Murray. I'm going to say it again, family. Zy McDonald looked like the SWAC version of Kyler Murray. Tell me if I'm lying. He could break tackles. He's shifty. He juking people. I like, who is this number 6, man? And he could throw the deep ball. All he has to do, stay in shotgun. We don't need him under center because he's not tall. Mr. Campbell, man. Mr. Campbell told me a long time ago. He said, hey, DJ, this is what, hey, DJ, this FAMU team, the best in years. Mr. Campbell, I have FAMU winning all their games. I would be surprised if FAMU lose another game in the SWAC schedule, that is. And if FAMU gets to the Celebration Bowl, I'm not trying to sound confident or too cocky, but if FAMU gets to the Celebration Bowl, they're going to win it all. Because they're going to take that seriously, and they're very familiar with the MEAC. So if I'm Jackson State, I'm not even worried about, oh, if FAMU gonna lose and maybe that can help them go back into the Celebration Bowl. Don't worry about that. Worry about going forward, dominating. Trap Music says, I can't lie, I'm disappointed. It's disappointing. It's only disappointing because of the mishaps. If it was now they would have been mad if it was a close score loss, but it's the penalties, the fumbles, the everything I said on that breakdown, what Jackson State needed to do, they didn't do. They didn't do special teams well. They didn't take care of the football. The bright spot was Irv Mulligan. Irv Mulligan, he looked like he about to have 1,000+ yards this season. Irv Mulligan, Irv Mulligan about to go off this season. And we got 160 people, but why only 40 likes? Let's hit the like button, family. Let's hit the like button. Mr. Campbell, man, he said, we bought the yard, we didn't have to steal it. Well, congratulations to FAMU, man. I like that running back trio y'all got in Yant. That boy Yant is a beast, man. He is a beast. The offensive line, Cardell Thomas, is a pro. And I'll be surprised if Cardell Thomas, the lineman from FAMU, doesn't get drafted. I'll be surprised if he doesn't get drafted. If he gets drafted, I would not be surprised. Meaning Cardell Thomas. Unstoppable says it's disappointing, but Jackson State will be fine. Yo, that'd be good. Seven McGee didn't play in this game. I realized that. Didn't even play in this game. Also, if you're Jackson State, you need to defeat Rico Powers. Keep feeding him more. Because there was times where it's one-on-one coverage. Yeah, the DB is on him, but he's one of those receivers. Just throw it up to him. Don't worry about if it's going to may get picked off. Don't worry about that stuff. Rico Powers is really good at the 50-50 balls. But back to Jason Brown. Jason Brown was so injured. He was holding his wrist for the most of the game. The underneath routes where you see 3 players open, he missed them. It was weird. He usually makes those throws. That's when I knew something was off with him. Right, PMG? Huggins is back. Don't worry. When Huggins gets back to speed, that's going to bolster the defense. Somebody asked me, they thought that Jackson State fans would be like really, really mad. They're disappointed, but if you ever talk to Jackson State fans, they're not going to change. They're going to always say they're going to win by 50. They're always going to root for their team. And that's a great thing. That's one of the great things about the Swac. Fans like Jackson State, they're always ride or die. They always root for their teams. And Mr. Campbell says, all I know, we created quarterback controversy. Yeah. Thanks to FAMU, now people are saying, man, should Zy McDonald go for it? Because Zy McDonald's electric. But then Jacobian Morgan is the gem, what you call the hidden gem. Not really a hidden gem, but he's so gifted, talent-wise. Jacobian Morgan's almost 6'5", 240, and has a rocket arm. And he started some games at Syracuse. And whoever TC feels going forward that's going to win the game, the game's going forward, he's going to stick to it. Yeah, FAMU did recruit to beat Jackson State. Now, Mr. Campbell, I need to ask you this question. Is FAMU playing against Alabama State this year? Family, let me know. I got to look at their schedule. Is FAMU playing against Alabama State this year? I got to look at their schedule again. But here's why I said it. If FAMU plays Alabama State, that's a trap game. Because Alabama State has a vaunted defense. And if it's in Tallahassee, okay, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Alabama State has a vaunted defense, and they're going to try to ugly up the game. And you know Musa, when he's not consistent, sometimes He it's not a good brand of football. When Musa is on and rolling like he did in the first half, he looks like all world, all Swac. So all Musa has to do, keep distributing the ball. You don't have to be Superman if you're Jeremy Musa. Trap Music said ASU got no quarterback. Yeah, but they're good at making games ugly. Look at Jackson State when they played against Jackson State and Shadir's offense last year. Shoot, Alabama State played better defense than what TCU played against Shadir in this year. Yeah, Musa just got to be consistent. That second half, I'm sure Willie Simmons going to talk to the team about being consistent and finishing drives. That game should have been over in the third. Mishaps, miss catches, receivers not being on the same page as the quarterback. Mr. Keble says, I'm still hanging out with the Tigers. Hey, Mr. Keble, a real one. He said, hopefully Mr. Campbell. Mr. Campbell, man, I don't know why people are giving heat to Mr. Campbell. Mr. Campbell has actually been fair with Jackson State. When everybody was saying Jackson State may go 5-5 and all this crap in the offseason, Mr. Campbell was saying, no, they're going to lose to us. And of course, he used to say that he's a alumnus of FAMU. But he's always said that Jackson State would go 8-3, 9-2, or something like that. He's always given them their respect. He just repping his alma mater, and that's what everybody does. There's no problem in that. Yeah, she hate the 58 is that, man. 58 is the real deal. Man, I wonder if I need to go to a FAMU game. I've never been to one before. That would be interesting. So here's the positives. I'm going to go to positives of JSU and the negatives, and the positives of FAMU and the negatives going forward. The positives of JSU is that you know what you need to fix. All is not the wrong in the world. If you beat Southern next week, your arch rival, then people are going to be like, okay, they're really good. So worry about beating Southern. Establish the quarterback position. There's talented quarterbacks. You saw Zion McDonald. When Jason Brown is not hurt, he's really good. Jacoby Morgan is also talented. So you got quarterback depth. Huggins is coming back. Seven McGee didn't even play in this game. And when Seven McGee comes back, it's going to make everything easier for Jackson State's offense. I want y'all to hear that right now. When Seven McGee comes back, all the missed plays and all, that stuff is gone. He is the one missing piece on that offense to help them go. The bad thing about Jackson State, I did not like the special teams. They need to work on that, or it's going to bite them in the rear end. T.C. Taylor's a great coach, my brother. This loss is beyond coaching. This loss is about right here, your grit, your heart. I didn't see that energy from the players. And I don't like blaming coaches when the energy was not there for the players. FAMU wanted it more than the Jackson State players. JSU, you need to get that back because you're about to play Southern. You're about to play a team that wants to beat you. What are you going to do after this loss? Are you going to just whine about it, or woe is me? Or are you going to punch someone in the face? Everyone is making fun of your team and your university. What are you going to do now? And I think Jackson State's going to answer that bell. Again, I think we're overreacting because FAMU is really that good. Shout out to Ollie Payne. He says, salute, DJ. Thanks for everything you do. Tell Coach Joe we need him back this year. Oh, yeah. Oh, you know it's on. When the season starts, Coach Joe is on. John Horst says, JSU needs to bring back Jeff Weeks. The only thing that JSU really missed was Dennis Thurman. And the JSU defensive coordinator is not bad, but Dennis Thurman was that damn good. Dennis Thurman was the biggest miss out of anything. Everybody talk about this player, this coach, that. Dennis Thurman was the biggest loss. Big Cat says Jackson State was beat up for playing South Carolina State. Yeah, they had some players out. No excuses, fam. You won fair and square, but you saw the injuries. You even Jeremy Brown, Jason Brown, that is. Jason Brown did not look the same. Jason Brown looked beat up, and he took some hits even from the South Carolina State game, but no one even noticed it. But I noticed it. He was holding his wrist the whole time. I saw it the first quarter. I said, something wrong with Jason Brown? He's grabbing the ball wrong cautiously when he hikes the ball. Just things I noticed. And if Jason Brown is not 100% healthy, go with either Zion Down or Jacoby Morgan until he comes back. But if they're rolling, keep them in. No, the talent is there for Jackson State. Again, FAMU really didn't have a bunch of yards. They had here and there. They had momentum yards off of bad plays on special teams, block kicks and all that stuff, and it deflated the defense. But the talent is still there. I don't think it's a talent issue. Paris Green says, we got what we needed. We have to switch quarterbacks early. The game got Unstoppable says, I wonder, did they know Jason's hand was injured before the game started? That could happen. You know how teams do. Teams could look at you when you're warming up and see, oh, this player's injured. They were swiping at his hand the whole time. Yeah, the Swac refs are the worst in the NCAA. They're missing holding calls. That fumble call that they called on Irv Mulligan, his knee was clearly down. I barely agree with what's the MEAC brother again that calls games? I forgot his name. I know Tiffany Green, but the guy again. What's that dude's name again? The announcer? Even I had to agree with him. He said that was one of the worst calls he ever seen. The replay showed Irv Mulligan's knee down, and they still called a fumble. I've never seen that before. Yeah, Jay Walker, the brother that hates on SWAC teams. Jay Walker even said that was one of the most egregious calls he ever seen. And Clarence Kenny, live and die by Mulligan. Jackson State, if you ever watch my videos, you have a special running back in Irv Mulligan. This brother's so bad that even the FAMU fans said, yeah, that's a bad boy. Keep running with Irv Mulligan. I don't care if you run. I don't care if you give Irv Mulligan 35 carries a game. Keep running the ball with Irv Mulligan. Because if you keep doing that, that's going to open the passing game up. And that will create great things. Paris Green says, we got to make a decision and move forward. We cannot leave the game onto refs. Yeah, this game is not lost because of refs. But I did want to point out that that was one of the worst calls I've ever seen. Special teams and turnovers is the reason why Jackson State won this game. Because if you look at the yardage by FAMU, it's not like a whopping 500 total yards or something like that. Yeah, K. Lofton, Brown needed to be. It's nothing really against Brown. He was injured. If Brown was pulled in the first quarter, you never know how things could have gone. JSU's going to look back at it and say, damn, we should have pulled him out. Because he couldn't even grab the ball. His wrist was jacked up. Clarence says about JSU pass protection. Yeah, the pass protection was better, but that's only because Zion McDonald gave them some extra time. When Zion McDonald was in the game, all of a sudden the pass protection was better, but again, he could run. And with FAMU's stout D-line, you can only block so many players. I wouldn't be surprised if FAMU's D-line would get a sack or more a game. That's how good their D-line is. They won't go into games without a sack. Yeah, this ain't an indictment on Brown. I just think his wrist was jacked up. Yeah, Jackson State's going to be a motivated team, man. They'll be motivated and watch. I'm not even worried about Jackson State. I saw what they need to work on. You're gonna see Shines and Buffoons go and make videos chastising Jackson State. People who watch football know if Jackson State fixed the idiotic plays, they're good. It's not even if Jackson State win the rest of their games and get a playoff invite, they're gonna get the last laugh. Of course, you want to win a Celebration Bowl, go to a Celebration Bowl. But if they do that, and it'll be an accomplishment that Jackson State hasn't done in a long time, then that's another win for TC Taylor. Now to FAMU. FAMU, you have a great team. That's one of your talented teams. Jeremy Musa, keep doing what works. Don't go outside of yourself. Every time Jeremy Musa goes outside of himself or what he usually does, it's a missed throw here and there. But when he's on, he's on. The first half, Jeremy Musa, that's what he needs to do going forward throughout conference play. If you do that, you don't have to worry about teams catching up. You don't have to worry about, turnover here and there that could sway a game. Lean on to the running backs. You got 3 dangerous running backs. The offensive line is there to run down these teams' throats. And number 3 for FAMU, do not overlook your opponents. Do not, I repeat, overlook your opponents. You could go in a game against Alabama State and think that, you're going to win that game. But Alabama State has a defense. And if they make the game ugly enough, that could be trouble. To be honest, FAMU going forward should not lose any games. But they got a stout defense, too deep. I'm happy for Willie Simmons because everybody was dissing the brother. I hate it for the Jackson State players and coaches, but the silver lining, I'm happy for FAMU and their team, their organization, and Willie Simmons. They always say Willie's going to Willie. They always diss his man's coaching. I think Willie Simmons is a great coach, a great leader of man, and you got to give credit where credit is due. Shout out to the brother Chief Bartrand. Make sure to subscribe to his channel. He said PCU DJ in the chat. And let me make you a moderator, my brother. The Chief right there, Chief Bartrand, good brother right there. You're now a moderator, Bartrand. Hit the likes up, family. Big Chat says, now the Swac can stop hating on Jackson State and start hating. Yeah, since FAMU won, let's see if the energy is the same, though. Because, man, when Jackson State, after they win the Orange Blossom Classics throughout the 2 years, they were just hoping for Jackson State to lose a game every time. So let's see if that energy switched. But, man, this is a blessing still, man. I'm not going to let negative energy ruin this movement. The HBCU movement is important. Shout out to the former players as well that's balling. We're not surprised. They've been doing it, balling for years. And, man, this is what it's all about. For Jackson State, keep your head up. This ain't the end of the world. You still got talent. You just made a ton of mistakes. You clean the mistakes and don't beat yourselves. Maybe you could go to a playoff game. You got to win out, and you got to look good doing it too. But you have the team to do it. You got talented quarterbacks. Your backup quarterback came in the game and made a lot of plays. A lot of teams in the conference barely even have one quarterback. You have 3. So, yeah. Paris says, credit to FAMU, but JSU will group recovery. The pressure should be down now. Yeah, the pressure's down. The pressure, for the first time in years, the pressure is not on Jackson State anymore. The pressure is not on Jackson State. So now the coaches, players, all you have to do is just play. The Jackson State haters, they're happy that Jackson State lost. And what else can they say? They can't really say anything else. So just keep playing, man. Keep playing. And we'll see what happens. But I hope you have a blessed day. I'm going to do a Swac show. Well, really an HBCU show because I got to talk about Morgan State. Shout out to Morgan State, man. Shout out to PV. I feel bad for Andrew Body in Texas Southern. Shout out to the Pope B. Frank, man. Subscribe to his channel. Man, a lot of good games, man. Grambling's offense looks good. The defense needs to step up. But it's going to be a good year in the Swac. This is Raw Truth Media giving you the raw content that you deservedly need. Y'all have a blessed day. I'm out.